Okay, folks, assuming that worked properly, I should be live. And I am, as far as I can tell, currently live. Yes, I am. Yeah, just waiting for my noise to come back to me. Hit live chat. Go to live chat here. Now, bear with me while I shill this out, as I am going to be not obviously posting anything else later today. So I need to open those bookmarks. Back to YouTube. Close that. There we go. And of course I'm an idiot because I forgot to grab the link. I swear I boomer all the time. In any case, while this is happening, I will let you guys have a perusal of the thumbnail, and that will give you an idea about at least one of the stories we're talking about today. And just to let you folks know as well, my friend Trim and my other friend Bezic were streaming earlier, and okay, that's Twitter. Yeah, my friends Trim and Bezic were streaming earlier, playing Halo, a game that I've never really had a lot of interest in. But they are certainly making it much more enjoyable than I recall. Obviously, they're also members of the Sultans of Shadilay crew. Getting my posts out. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, being that today is the end of the month, I am planning to do my first Friday of the month live stream. Subscriber exclusive live stream. I'm not 100% sure if I'm doing that on Friday or not. Simon, if you happen to pop into chat, I will pester you to let me know. Currently, I only have 2 subscribers, and given that I'm sleeping with one of them, it's not really a big problem to schedule. Oh, accidentally looking at my notifications in Twitter instead of paying attention to what I was doing here. Oh dear, oh dear. Bear with me just a moment, folks, while I get this all shilled out on Discord as well. It takes a little bit of time to get it shilled properly to Discord, given that I am in so many Discords. It may be a bit of a boomer take, but I've found that Discord is not unlike Facebook in some ways, at least in the way that I interact with it. I have found that I find myself jumping from what amounts to page after page after page, although I will give Discord the fact that it is much, much less dedicated to the leftiness. That said, as I understand it, it is not, 100% non-woke, though there are some extremely non-woke, or in fact violently unwoke sections of Discord that I do occasionally enjoy frequenting. Not the least of which, of course, is Golden Age Cabal, where you can generally find quite a lot of memes. I do have my own Discord, however, generally I only use it for, let me see here. Why are you not... There we are. You can come over and join that one for a moment. I don't believe there's anything super important there. No. Okay. Okay, then I can full screen this. I have live chat up. Hello, Stormy. And because she thinks I'm pretty, hi, baby. Okay, so today's stories. I'm going to look at Churchill Falls because there have been some developments in that case. But before I do that, I'll give you guys a little bit of the history very rapidly. Do I have links here? Okay, open link in new tab. There we go. Okay, so just to give you a quick explainer on what it is, the Churchill Falls Generating Station is a hydroelectric underground power station in Labrador. 5,428 megawatts. It is the 16th largest in the world, second largest in Canada after the Robert Bourassa Generating Station in northwestern Quebec. Rather than a single large dam, the plant's reservoir is contained by 88 dikes, totaling 64 kilometers in length, now called the Smallwood Reservoir, after a communist piece of... Anyway, moving along. It has a capacity of 33 cubic kilometers and a catchment area. It's basically, the catchment is larger than the Republic of Ireland. So it's a very large project. The plant's powerhouse was hewn from solid granite, 300 meters underground. Interesting. I always thought granite was a much darker color than that. It's about 300 meters long, as high as a 15-story building, all of which is underground. The station cost almost $1 billion to build in 1970. In case you're wondering, and I'm kind of wondering. Copy. Control-V. In 1970 is how much in 2023? Probably less. But let's play. So let's have a look at that number again. $1 billion. Okay, so 1,000 million billion in 1970. Calculate. So it's about 7.5 times as much now. So that's what it would have been then. But when it was built, the contract between Churchill Falls Corp and Hydro-Quebec, it wasn't so bad when it was first created, because there were, how to put it, let's call it extenuating and unexpected occurrences. In '69, nobody really thought charging Quebec $1 a megawatt was a bad idea. I suspect they probably should have, and to be fair, Joey Smallwood was one of the driving forces behind this, and he was a communist. Not good with money. Not good when it came to future thinking, especially about the costs of things, which is ironic given that he lived through the Great Depression and Newfoundland's supposed economic collapse. Yeah. But to come back to the story, in November 2018, excuse me, the Supreme Court of Canada rejected a bid to force Hydro-Quebec to reopen the contract before 2041, deciding that the high profits of Quebec did not justify reopening the contract. Majority decision held that the unforeseeability of future energy price increases was a risk that the CFLCO had assumed when the contract was signed, and the court could not force the parties to reopen the contract. I, Marco. In other words, the Supreme Court of Canada went, no, fuck you, stupid Newfies. You got what you get. Or you get what you get. So, because, this is supposed to be a cooperative country that we live in, where provinces cooperate with one another, Quebec gets to, essentially enjoy primacy in any conflict between provinces. Yeah. Seems fair. Let me see here. Gascon. Where is Gascon? Who is Gascon here? Doesn't say. Gascon, I assume, was one of the Supreme Court justices, who additionally said that unforeseeability would justify overturning the contract only if it made the contract less beneficial to one party, and not in this case, where it merely made the contract more beneficial to one party, Quebec. Fuck you, Gascon. Yeah. Fuck you. Let me see. In 2019, Quebec's highest court, the Court of Appeal of Quebec, ruled that Hydro-Quebec's right to sell Churchill Falls Energy had a monthly cap, simplifying the management of water resources for the lower Churchill project's Muskrat Falls station. Newfoundland and Labrador will be able to renegotiate the project in 2041 when the contract expires. And there have been cases brought forward by the Innu Nation as well. In 2010, the government of Newfoundland and Labrador and the Innu Nation initialed an agreement to compensate for the negative impacts of the Churchill Falls plant. In other words, Newfoundland took on all the risk, all the detrimental possibilities, and Hydro-Quebec is reaping all the benefits. But it's fair, according to the Supreme Court of Canada. Tell me again why Newfoundland joined this fucking country? And, actually, wrong story. I meant to bring this one up. There we are. So, after decades of resentment over Churchill Falls, Newfoundland hopes for a fair deal. Recently, Premier Legault and Fury, Premiers Legault and Fury, were meeting in St. John's to discuss this issue. And let me see here. I'm looking for a good image of the two of them together that really gives you an idea of what sort of people we're looking at. That's not a bad one. Let's go with this one. Let me open that image in a new tab. Perhaps I'll be able to make it a little larger. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it gives you an idea of what kind of people we're dealing with. Oh dear. So, back we go. Oh, actually, that was wrong. I wanted to stay on that one. And I meant to be on this story. So, the 69 contract wasn't always a bad one for Newfoundland. Fair. I will give them that. To be fair, the contract initially was a good deal for Newfoundland because it got us the funding to build a hydroelectric plant that should have made us very profitable. Instead, because the leadership at the time, which is not unlike the leadership of the present day and every leadership since, completely shat the bed on looking ahead and only focused on the momentary, the gains for them politically, and really didn't give a damn what happened once they were out of office. Which is really one of the reasons I'm really looking at monarcho-capitalism. As odd as that may be for someone who is so fiercely independent-minded to say, it's really one of the things I think about. Because if you had a monarch, they're going to be determined to make sure that their family does well in perpetuity. Not just themselves for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Or set themselves up for life. Let's see here. Got some chats here. Mark, who popped in. Prime is in. Hi Prime. How's it going? And Stormy, of course, being my wonderful cheerleader that she is telling people to hit the like button. Much appreciated. Prime, so they at least land with no restrictions. Stormy is sharing very, I would say, based opinions. It's not exactly that they gave it away or leased it with no restrictions. It's essentially more of a, how to put it? It's definitely an unbalanced sort of contract for us. Just a moment. I gotta move a few things out from under my elbow here. Cluttered desk. Sorry. So let's see. Scumbags. One big scumbag. Joseph Smallwood. If you want to read up on why Newfoundland has decayed to the point it has, a lot of the blame gets laid at his feet. Stormy is pointing out what is being said now. I will be getting to that in the next story. I will be cutting this off no matter what in about 45 minutes at 3:30 Newfoundland time, because my friend Trim is streaming with Robert Renato over on his channel, and I do not want to run long because I actually want to see that stream myself. Let's see here. Prime Knight says, joining Canada, joining EU seems whenever a sovereign state joins a larger project, they get screwed. Funny that, isn't it? Especially when the people in charge of the larger project are not exactly freedom-loving capitalists. Hooray for the EU. Sorry. Let's see. Prime says we've had something similar here in Sweden. A massive mine opened, people moved there, built homes, schools, and lives. Then the mine had to expand to not close, and the people had no help from the company who hires about half the town. So the mine expanded into where their homes and schools and things have been built, or not a bobcat, Smallwood, the jokes write themselves. Oh yeah, yeah. And he was a tiny man too, it turns out. A big mouth though. Let's see. So we'll go through this first story here. This is from CBC. So the 69 contract wasn't always a bad one for Newfoundland, but failed to keep pace as electricity prices soared. Absolutely true. Like many of his neighbors in downtown St. John's, Dan Hickey says he's followed the much maligned Churchill Falls deal for years. Why? Patrick. And this is directly to Patrick Butler, the guy who wrote this story. Patrick, who gives a shit? No offense, but this is just a random dude on the road. And this is the picture you decided to put up for Churchill Falls? For talking about the contract? Really? I make better choices, and I do it inside of 10 minutes. Disco, if you're out there, go and bully this guy about his thumbnail. No, I'm just kidding. But, okay, so this is really just talking about Dan himself. When Dan was growing up in St. John's, Churchill Falls deal, an infamous ironclad contract bemoaned by many Newfoundlanders and Labradorians came up more than once around the kitchen table at home. Yeah. So too did the many billions of dollars Quebec has made reselling Labrador power purchased at a fraction of the price. Naturally enough, when Quebec's Premier Francois Legault announced he'd soon be negotiating the future of the notorious 69 hydroelectric contract with Newfoundland and Labrador, and do it soon, Hickey took an interest. There's a lot at stake. I just hope we get a fair deal, said Hickey earlier this month, shovel in hand, after a blizzard blanketed the province capital in half a meter of snow. Yeah, we did get quite a lot of snow earlier this month. Stop fucking with me, advertising. Hickey had a big cleanup job on his hands as things are out. Oh, God. Terrible, terrible journalism. Low price long term. For generations, Newfoundlanders, Labradorians have resented the Churchill Falls Agreement for a simple reason. They feel it isn't fair. Let me say this for the cheap sheets. They're not fucking wrong. John Sams, a lawyer and advisor to former Liberal Premier Dwight Ball. Yeah, it was the Liberals who got us into this mess, by the way. Said the deal didn't start out bad, but as the market price for electricity rose, the 69 contract didn't keep pace. In fact, the price for Churchill Falls power actually went down over time. The deal is incredibly long-term. It lasted 40 years, then automatically renewed for another 25 with no chance of renegotiation. Beyond that is the fact that the price was fixed at such a low amount. Oh, I thought it was $1. Apparently I was wrong by a factor of 5. Hydro-Quebec currently pays 0.2 cents a kilowatt hour for electricity produced at Churchill Falls, a price that has actually decreased since '69. By comparison, in the third quarter of 2022, Hydro-Quebec made an average 8.2 cents per kilowatt hour, 41 times more on its electricity exports. That's incorrect. He's a journalist. I don't expect him to be able to do math. It's actually 40 times more that they're making, because the 0.2 cents is what they actually paid. Premier after Premier in Newfoundland and Labrador has tried and failed to reopen the Churchill Falls deal. After decades of legal battles, the provincial government lost once and for all at the country's top court in 2018. Whatever deal they come up with now in the near future, it couldn't be worse. Oh, you never say such things about Newfoundland politics, my friend. Quebec, one-man wages, high expectations. The contract expires in 2041, but Legault is set on beginning as soon as possible. On Tuesday, he announced a 2-day trip to St. John's starting Thursday. And we'll switch to that story now. So this is Premier Francois Legault, looking like an absolute tool. And the other absolute tool, yeah, this is my provincial premier, Andrew Furey. Don't be fooled by the surname. He's anything but furious. He's got Trudeau-style socks. Let's put it that way. Initial talks between Furey and Legault in St. John's yesterday. Now this story is from a few days ago. This is from February 25th. Big on pleasantries, small on details. And I do apologize. I've made some mistakes here. Hello, Bezic. Let me see. Actually, I need to flip back through here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Bezic, dropping in late, catching up at double time. Excellent. Nice to see you, Bezic. Okay, and Prime Knight says the town in Sweden did have to move, and they received no help whatsoever. Hang on. These were mine employees given no help whatsoever by the corporation that moved them, or forced them to move. Do these people not know how company towns work? Or is there something in Sweden's legislation that prevents a company town? Anyway, going through here. Okay, and primed, I can see the first part of your message there. Let me just see if I can get that to come up here. Okay. I see something about northern storm walls. I'll have to wait till the chat moves a little more before I see the rest of it. But in any case, I think it's very interesting how the Premier of Newfoundland is sitting in front of the Quebec flag, and the Premier of Quebec is not really sitting in front of the Newfoundland flag. The deal, signed in 1969, gives Quebec the lion's share, the monster's share. Legault said he's well aware of how Newfoundlanders Labradors feel about the contract, which he called it a bad deal. He says he fully understands frustration and anger felt by people in this province over the agreement, which he said became a bad deal over time, noting it's always better to have a win-win for both parties. Well, at least he's a bit savvy. Fury, meanwhile, says whether such a win-win agreement can be reached remains to be seen. Where did you learn diplomacy, you twit? Why on earth... Why are Newfoundland fucking politicians so incompetent? Yeah, I know he's a doctor, but for the love of God, talk to a businessman once in a while. Liberals. So, Fury says such a win-win agreement, whether it can be reached remains to be seen. But he says it was important that he and Legault meet nonetheless. Why? Also, why are you suddenly standing this close to him with no mask on when we saw you further away with a mask on and him with a mask in his hand not too long ago? Just a few minutes ago here on this fucking stream. Ass. He says he realizes people are hungry for details as to the direction the talks are headed, but says those issues will be kept under wraps. Yes, because why would a Liberal government want to let... Why would a Liberal government want to let the people know what the fuck they were up to? That's kind of counter to the whole transparency narrative that everybody ran on. Both premiers also committed to consulting with Indigenous groups. Why? They're not citizens. Sorry. If they want input, let them be citizens. Let them vote like everyone else. Let them pay fucking taxes like everyone else. Until then, stuff it. You get the government, you get the gibs that the government decides to give you. Because that's apparently all you want. And this is other stories. Now, over here... I'll take that off screen now, so I'm not advertising for other people. What have I got tagged over here? Okay, so moving away from that story, and while I'm thinking about it again, I will actually grab these links and throw in chat. Primed says he's seen some reports that the northern storm wall that stops storms from the Arctic has weakened and more cold is moving deeper into America. If that's true, we're not experiencing that here in Newfoundland, and we should be. Stormy says something I won't repeat because it's somewhat prejudiced and this isn't Rumble. But, yeah. He's trying to get his hand in the pot early? Absolutely. And Mark, who says, responds to Prime, says that sounds like Californians are about to get a cold awakening. Not a bobcat. Yeah, liberal. You're absolutely right. The definition of the word liberal has been warped, to say the least, over the last 3 generations or so. Bend over and take it, Newfoundland, is what's going to happen. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not that Newfoundland's going to take it, it's that we're going to be pushed over and railed hard with the help of our politicians. The willing help of our politicians. Beep from Trim's Art Shack. Hi, Trim. 35 minutes. Get to work. I hope you've got a good thumbnail. I will help Disco bully you about thumbnails. Anyway, I did say I was going to throw the links into chat, so here are the links. This is the CBC story. Oops, I accidentally added a period. Why are you not? There we go. Okay. Let's see. The Newfoundland story. There. So, I'm just going to read this one entirely in its form, as it is. I will make no commentary about it right away. And, yeah, mostly because of the platform that I'm using to do this, but I want to make sure it's understood about this. And I will attempt to keep the commentary to a minimum. Okay. Newfoundland and Labrador, that's what the NL stands for, court reinstates an unvaccinated councillor who was banned from small town meetings. Musgrave Harbour Town Councillor unfairly vacated Musgrave Harbour Town Council unfairly vacated Grant Abbott's seat, rules Justice Glenn Knoll. This is from a week ago. Grant Abbott fought for his job as a town councillor in Musgrave Harbour after he was ousted due to a policy requiring he become fully vaccinated. The Supreme Court of Newfoundland and Labrador has reinstated a Musgrave Harbour town councillor who was removed from his seat for missing meetings due to COVID-19 mandates. In a February 17th decision, Justice Glenn Knoll ruled the town, quote, breached the duty of procedural fairness owed to Grant Abbott when it vacated his seat in April, following months of conflict over the town council's vaccination policy for public meetings. The judge ordered Abbott be reinstated as a town councillor. Now, that I have an issue with. And I do realize I said I wasn't going to bring up a lot of commentary, but in this case I will. I don't think it's right that the justice system overrule what happens in the political system. In Canada, Newfoundland especially, we don't have that sort of separation of power, though. So, while I don't think this is correct, there's not a lot to be done about it. Back to this. Okay. January 2022, the Council enacted a regulation requiring all councillors be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 or provide a note from a doctor or a nurse practitioner exempting the councillor from vaccination. Abbott, who said he was unvaccinated on the advice of his doctor, voted against the regulation, which would be a sensible thing to do. Sorry. I'm trying to keep the commentary down, and that one may very well get me yeeted. Trying my best. According to the Supreme Court decision, the town clerk told Abbott ahead of the next town meeting on January 31st, 2022, that he could sit in on the meeting by phone. Abbott connected to the meeting, but was told he couldn't speak, and the minutes for the January 31st meeting don't include Abbott as being in attendance. It's a little shady. A little discriminatory. At the meeting, the town passed a regulation that a councillor could attend a meeting by phone or video call for childcare, medical reasons, or if they were working out of town. The policy noted vaccination status was not a valid reason for attending a meeting remotely. The town also removed Abbott from any committees until he either provided proof of vaccination or a letter of exemption from his doctor. In the following days, Abbott repeatedly sent emails asking for clarification on whether he'd be able to speak via phone at the next town council meeting. He was told by the town receptionist, who really shouldn't be a person who's making these decisions, that there was no obligation to accommodate councillors if, quote, they are breaking the policies and procedures in place. Abbott also asked council to not subject him to Section 206 of the Municipalities Act, which allows for the removal of a councillor for failing to attend public meetings for 3 successive months unless granted leave by the council. Abbott, just a second, unless granted leave by the council. So he was told, the town clerk told Abbott ahead of a meeting that he could sit on the meeting by phone. So who's making the decisions in this town? Is it the town clerk? Is it the town receptionist? You know, the bureaucrat administration of the actual government? Or is it the members of the actual government that's been elected? Who's making the decisions? It's a good question. Let me see here. Municipalities Act. Abbott connected to the February 23rd council meeting via a Google Meet link on the town's Facebook page, but was not allowed to speak, and the minutes did not record him as having attended, and do not mention any discussion of his Section 206 request. So did it happen or didn't it? I mean, if this was being posted live, and many are, and let me just check over here. Oops. Wrong button all the way around. A lot of town councils, by the way, are now streaming their their meetings. Sorry. I believe one of the recent, I don't know if he was elected or not. I know he ran for council here in my area as a town councilor. Okay, I'm just reading this section. It doesn't look like they do. But the fellow that ran for council here, one of the things he wanted to do was to have our town council meetings broadcast, essentially live streamed. And given the quality and speed, fidelity, whatever you want to call it, of those broadcasts, it really makes a lot of sense for town councils to do that. Let me see here. Stormy is telling people not to forget to hit the like button again. Yeah, beat it like it owes you money. Trim, remember to viciously assault Arden's like button. Thank you, Trim. And Trim, in fact, does no delay. Here we see a quote from the Justice. The consequence of vacating a councillor's seat is a serious deprivation of a resident's right to participate in local government and democracy. I'm sorry, is this? No. In his ruling, Noel noted that since Abbott requested leave from council, as allowed for in the Municipalities Act regulation, the town should have voted on it, and since they didn't, Section 206 did not apply. The consequence of vacating a councillor's seat, that's the quote I just read. Justice Neal also noted that council's failure to vote on Abbott's request also deprived him of an opportunity to appeal the decision through a judicial review, a denial of procedural fairness, which invalidates council's reliance on Section 206 for the vacation of the seat. Noel also ruled Abbott had attended the meetings in question and pointed out the Municipalities Act allows councils to let members participate via electronic means that enable a councillor to listen and to be heard. Noel ruled against Abbott's request for full indemnity costs, awarding him partial indemnity instead, saying while town council erred in removing him from council, their actions didn't rise to a level that would warrant full costs being awarded. I disagree, but I'm not a judge. Fortunately for a lot of people, I think. Such costs are intended to compensate on a full indemnity basis when there has been reprehensible, scandalous, or outrageous conduct on the part of the party. I think it's kind of outrageous that they screwed this guy over as hard as they did, but hey, what are you going to do? The town's conduct does not warrant an award of solicitor-client costs. Yes, it does. And I will explain to the Justice why it does. Lord Justice, Mr. Justice, whatever the term is that you're supposed to be referred to as, which I don't know at the moment, if this... How did you put it? You actually described it as a denial of procedural fairness. If the council had not performed this denial of procedural fairness to Mr. Abbott, there would never have been a need for him to engage the services of a solicitor. So yes, that cost should be on the town council. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a stupid man. And let's see. Partial indemnity. So such costs are intended to compensate on a full indemnity basis, blah, blah, blah. Conduct. The town's conduct does not warrant... Yeah, I covered that. The councilors are volunteers doing their best to serve the town and its residents. Doing their best. Yeah. Oh, what's this? Didn't know about this one. But I'll throw this one into chat as well. Oops. Send. Prime Knight says, sounds like infidel, shun him, he is an anointed, shun him. Yeah, it does sound a lot like that. So this is from April 28th last year. And it's the same counselor, Grant Abbott. The RCMP are investigating after town councillor Musgrave Harbour found a bullet hole in a window of his home earlier this month. Abbott told CBC News on Thursday his entire family was home at the time, including 3 young children. Family is a bit distraught about the whole situation. Abbott said on the morning of April 16th his wife discovered a bullet hole in a window. He said he has security video of 2 trucks near his home around 1 in the morning, which is when he believes the shooting happened. He doesn't have video of the actual shot. Light-colored pickup, dark-colored pickup, which have yet to be identified. RCMP have said the matter is under investigation. They believe the house was targeted. No shit, Sherlock. And apparently this is down to the same issue. Proof of vaccination. So, leaving aside my opinion of whether or not the vaccine is valid, and we will leave that alone, and this is where I'm going to kind of end this section. I'm going to go look at something else from Newfoundland in a moment. But, those who were pushing for the vaccination... Oops, I do believe that was my phone that just made a lot of noise. We'll leave that alone. But leaving aside whether or not the vaccine was valid, whether the vaccine was necessary, leaving all that aside, the idea behind pushing the vaccine was that it was going to help people. Okay. We'll assume the sincerity behind that is actual and valid. Assuming that's sincere and you want people to be vaccinated in order to keep other people healthy, and you come across someone who doesn't want to vaccinate for whatever reason, and if, in the case of Mr. Abbott, it turns out to be advice from his doctor that says, no, you shouldn't. Maybe he has an immunodeficiency. Maybe he has some sort of issue. Maybe he's allergic to one of the ingredients of the vaccine. Why on earth would you then go the route of putting a bullet through the window of a home with children in it? I don't care how angry you are. If you're mad at him, YouTube, this is not in any way encouraging violence. But if you're mad at the counselor, confront the counselor. Do not, by any means, for any reason, go after their children. Because, and YouTube, this is me encouraging violence at this point. If you go after someone's children and they kill you, I think they're justified. Seems very fair to me. Don't harm children. Okay, let's have a look at VOCM's top stories. Oh, and I'm getting notifications. Let's see. Oh, Trim, if you want to put the link to your stream in, go ahead. Speaking of, I do believe Bezic is here somewhere. I'm going to skim back and see if I can't wrench that poor bugger. And do let me know if you've caught up, Bezic. Oh, I need a new window here. I have to actually open my own live stream. There we are. Is that muted? It is. Go to live chat. And Simon is in. Excellent. Simon, please message me on Subscribestar and let me know when is a good time for you for the, and Bez says he's here. Let me know when is a good time for you for the subscriber stream. Thanks, Trim. It's something I kind of have to practice a little bit, the whole looking at the camera stare. Let me see, Bezic. Oh yeah, sure, now it's moving. And add as standard moderator. There we go. Bezic is a moderator. Apparently they changed the moderation thing. Let me see. Trim. I'm going to remove your wrench for just a moment. And give you the standard moderator one as well. Okay, I do believe you should still be able to put a link in. So go ahead and try. If you can't, let me know. What are we looking at here? Trim says I have the ultimate look at camera stare. Song Wang. Hey, hi Song Wang. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that properly. Trim is asking if Bez has cleaned off all the flood gunk. Simon. Okay, excellent. So, let's go to... Can I get the local news here? No, I don't want that. Fuck off. Feds banning TikTok. Province signals move to acquire schools and RC church bankruptcy. Just go to the standard news. Okay, here we are. Okay, so the province is talking about acquiring schools in the Roman Catholic Church bankruptcy. A local descendant of Lebanese community recounts emotional return to Lebanon. Good for them. I'm glad they went back. Applications open for big game license draw. Feds banning TikTok on its work phones, urging public to be vigilant. I can't wait to do this one. TikTok. Really? Why would you want to ban TikTok? Ottawa is banning the use of the TikTok app on all government-issued mobile devices. Federal Treasury Board President Mon-Thurs cited an, quote, unacceptable level of risk to privacy and security as determined by the country's chief information officer. All federal government devices will be blocked from downloading the app in future. The move is described as a precautionary one, given concerns surrounding the app's legal regime governing information collected from mobile devices, and whether they are in line with the approach of international partners. The federal government says TikTok's data collection methods provide considerable access to the contents of a mobile device. Fortier says guidance from the Communications Security Establishment's Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity strongly recommends that Canadians understand the risks and make an informed choice on their own before deciding what tools to use. Don't use fucking TikTok. It's Chinese fucking spyware. Oh, but TikTok is run by a private corporation that's based in China and clearly owned by the communist government. Be idiots. Okay. Long-term care home resident in Carbonear brutally attacked on dementia ward. That's unfortunate. The daughter of a man in a long-term care facility in Carbonear is asking some serious questions about after her father was brutally attacked on the dementia ward. She first received a call yesterday morning that her father was in emergency at Carbonear Hospital after being beaten by another patient. Whoa. Haven't they heard stories from other families? Yeah. Lashane is frustrated with the response of the social worker at their home. She says the patient in question continues to walk around freely on the unit. Lashane says her mother was told there's nothing that can be done and they cannot guarantee the safety of her father or other residents. Folks, and yeah, this one's going to be a bit of a rant, so mind your ears. Why the fuck would you ever put someone in a home? They can't guarantee the safety or health of your loved one. Sounds like a return to trad life is not a bad idea. Now, granted, once your family member gets to a very advanced point of dementia where they're unable to function for themselves, that may very well be when putting them in a home becomes necessary. But at that point, there is an argument to be made as to whether or not that's actually still them. To be fair. And, you know, if as a family you decide that you want to keep them in your home, then hire a nurse or some sort of staff to take care of them. Again, that is also up to you. My feeling is that you should never push your family members away. If they push you away, well, that's their choice. But you should try to do what you can. Let me see here. Just back up at Bezic here. Let me see. Song Wang. Prime Knight says, Tick Chong, I got your phone, Chinese spyware. Yeah. Primed, all companies in China has a liaison from the party. Yeah. You can't advance in China if you're not a member of the Communist Party. TikTok is a cancer. Simon despises TikTok. And Stormy now, I assume, is commenting on this last story. Stormy has some experience in the healthcare system here in Newfoundland. She says this is wrong on every level. Prime Knight, when I finally get my house, I will put up a torp. Small... Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Small cottage with the basic 5 meters from my house for my mom or dad when they get that old. Yeah, they call... there's something similar in... I guess our culture, Newfoundland culture, but it's kind of more of a Canadian thing, I think, which is known as a granny flat. Actually, that may be an English thing, considering they use the word flat. It's basically a small apartment on the same property. And yeah, absolutely a great idea. What else have we got for stories here? Go back. Cornerbrook RCMP officer charged with trafficking cocaine. A police officer. Bezic. A police officer. Being corrupt. Would you believe it? And apparently we're going to hire doctors from the UK. Yes, please. Because doctors from the Middle East, no offense, but most of them are extremely difficult to deal with on a cultural basis. The Winter Games is underway in PEI. Okay, let's have a look down, see what else we got here. I've got about 10 minutes or so, and I'll drop this off. I will actually cut this off a little bit before. Let me see. Simon says, advanced dementia removes the individual from within. Most awful of conditions. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not afraid of much, but losing my faculties is one of the things that terrifies me to no end. And Bezic actually used the term granny flat himself. Yeah. Also, Bezic, enjoy your wrench. Let me see. Fish harvesters and TFO. Oop. Just realized I hadn't put that back on screen. Now, this really does tell you how quiet a place Newfoundland is. When 3 impaired arrests make the news. Yeah, it's the local news, but it's still the news. It tells you how quiet this place is. Let's see. Stormy says, I agree. Home care in Newfoundland is not the level it should be after working in different levels of care. I see it getting worse rather than better. Prime says, corrupted police. Posted some videos. Okay. Let's see. Snow crab stocks are healthy. That's good. Harbor Grace man facing charges after caught speeding at 150 kilometers an hour on the TCH. Oh, let's have a look at this Chad. Patrol officer in an unmarked car noticed a vehicle driving at 158 kilometers in a 100 zone. Yeah. Won't say this fellow's name. He was arrested on outstanding conditions prohibiting him from operating a vehicle in the province and ordered him not to have contact with a passenger in his vehicle. He is now facing charges of excessive speeding, operating unregistered, and operating without license. Without insurance. On the upside, at least he wasn't driving that fast drunk. Let's see here. Prime Knight says, yes, corrupted police. I posted some videos from the Jan 6, and a cop was pushing a protester from a very high ledge. He was hospitalized, but not much more is known. I haven't seen that video yet, and I did mean to watch it. I'll have to go through the tab. Which tab did you put that in, Prime? Was that in videos? Mary Brown's on Water Street. God, what a mess they have made out of this building. Okay, this section, nice. Yellow submarine, beetles. Humpback whale. That's actually not a terrible version of a humpback whale, though the proportions are wrong. I do like the shark. I like the Mary Brown's flag, though Mary Brown's doesn't do seafood, so it should probably not be a submariner that does that, but what are you going to do? And this is actually kind of nice. The thing is, with so much going on, it's kind of cluttered. Is that supposed to be mermoose? Please tell me I can blow this up. No, not much. Yep, looks like mermoose. That's nice. Okay. It's in the America tab. Okay, thank you, Brian. Mary Brown's opened its downtown franchise September 2019 and celebrated its 50th anniversary of the business with a fun and colorful mural celebrating all things Newfoundland and chicken. Does anybody see chicken? Anywhere? I don't see chicken. I mean, I see a chicken burger and Mary Brown's face twice. Don't see any chickens. In any case, I just thought it was an ugly mural, so I figured I'd bring it up. What's this one? Bell Island landline users asked to call clinic for ambulance during phone disruption. Lovely. What else have we got? No, wait, no. What was that about the Mackenzies? Or is that just that was just an ad? Never mind. The octopus squiggly squid. Yeah. Let's see. Pharmacist offering tips on preventing travel-related illness. Would that be don't travel? Best terms insurance pricing. Gamble man in police custody. FFAW calling on Federal Fisheries Minister to reopen Atlantic mackerel. Choices for Youth surpasses coldest night of the year fundraising goal. St. John's man is arrested following a string of metro robberies. Grants available for municipalities make age-friendly building upgrades. And the Gull Island will not be developed without Innu Nation consent. Here's one for me. You are not a citizen of this country if you have native status. You are not required to pay taxes, though you do get to vote. Seems a little unfair. All the benefit, none of the responsibility. And the Grand Chief of the Innu Nation says, despite what takes place in discussions between Newfoundland, Labrador, and Quebec governments, there will be no development at Gull Island without the Innu Nation's consent. How exactly do you plan to stop it? Protest? Go ahead and protest. You going to perform some form of armed violence? Good luck with that. But Etienne Rich says, oh, sorry, forgot to put the story back up. There we are. Yeah, 2 more minutes trim, and then I'm going to knock this off. Quebec Premier Francois Legault says, oh, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, the Grand Chief of the Innu Nation says, despite what takes place in discussions between Newfoundland and Labrador's governments and Quebec's government, there will be no development at Gull Island without their consent. Well, the Innu Nation is not actually a... Oh, really? Fury is scheduled to meet with him today. Or yesterday. I wonder what Fury is planning to promise him. And remember, Etienne Rich, or Grand Chief Rich, whatever, however you want to be referred to. Whatever a liberal politician promises you, you're not really going to get it. And if you do get exactly what they promise you, it's because it actually works for them, not for you. Okay, let's have a quick flick through chat here. Guys are mentioning the octopus, squiggly squid. Nope, no chicken. Oh, it's a squid. Yeah. Let's see. For reference, Simon, if it has a kind of a pointy arrow-shaped head, it's usually a squid. Prime Knight. Had a funny thing happen with a speedster in Sweden. Teenager drove an EPA car, which is locked to 50 kilometers speed away from cops going 180. Well, clearly he figured out how to go faster. And Stormy is also cheerleading for the rest of the Sultans. Good girl. So yeah, guys, it is 3:25. Trim's show starts in about 5 minutes, and I am going to take a break and get something to drink and go have a cigarette before then. And Trim, by all means, post your link before you leave. I will be shutting this down in a few seconds here, so I'll give you some time. Yes, it's a squid already. Sorry, Simon. And there's Trim's. Excellent. I'm actually going to grab that, copy that link, and I will post that for myself. There we are. Notify me. And Trim starts in about 4 minutes, 15 seconds. So, I will let you guys go here, and wish you all well. Hope you're having good days. You continue to have good days, and that you rise and rise again.